All right, good evening, Who That Nation. Welcome to the WDN Chatline podcast. This is the host CB, and just excuse my camera. My camera kind of shabby, but it's a pleasure to be back on, man. Doing what I love, the podcast, talking New Orleans Saints. And New Orleans Saints fans, it's draft week. What will the Saints do at 29? When I got on last show, I was talking about defensive line being a top priority. In my opinion, I believe the defensive line, regardless of us getting Kalen Saunders and Nathan Shepard, none of those players have been starters for their past teams. So I believe defensive line needs to be a priority. We got Cam Jordan that's on this lad, minus that he's getting older. I'll keep it at that. He's definitely not getting on his last legs, but at some point he's gonna start to really diminish, and it's gonna be time for that next guy. Could Kalen Saunders possibly, you know, step in and become one of the next forces on the defensive line? We'll see. He's 26. You know, he's still young in his prime, still getting better, and that's what some of the Kansas City um, fans and coaches were saying that he's ascending. So I'm gonna just take it as he hadn't reached his ceiling yet. But with that being said, I just can't live on that. I can't ride on that. And with Nathan Shepard, he's 29, so he about to hit 30. Who knows, man? This man probably done hit his ceiling. So we got two unknowns, in my opinion, on the defensive line. Like I said, Cam Jordan, he's still playing at a high level, but you never know when that father time is going to hit. So here we is at the draft. It's draft week. What will the New Orleans Saints do at 29? Now, what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to talk about the who I believe will be the top four defensive linemen, DN or D tackle, that will be available at 29. This is who I believe will be available at 29. Um, so that's what the show is going to be consisted of. I'm going to break down for the defensive players that I believe will be sitting there at 29. If we stay at 29, we might move back. We may move up. I don't know what we're going to do. If it's somebody they like, who that nation we known to move up, we've known to drop back. So we don't know what we're going to do. But this is, if we stay at 29, um, this is my opinion on who would be the top, what defensive lineman would be remaining at that spot. So that's what the show gonna consist of. And apologies for just popping up. I usually give at least a day notice, a day or probably hours and hours before of when I'm gonna come on. But I just been busy, just had to pop it up, and I'm gonna bring you guys multiple shows this week. This is definitely a man important week. After this show, tomorrow I'm going to bring another show discussing some linebackers. I'm gonna just put linebackers out there because we never know what the Saints may do. If one of these top linebackers fall and is there at 29, or if it's somebody that they really love and they move up and he's sitting there, we don't know what the Saints is going to do. And Demario Davis is another guy that's still in his prime, but his age number is it's kind of getting up there. We don't know when that Father Time is going to hit him as well. So we know we lost Caden Ellis. So who will be opposite Pete Warner? Just to say if um DeMario just started declining, and we don't know. I don't know. Cam Jordan may give us 5 more years. DeMario may give us 5. That'll be great. But we don't know. You just got to be set up just in case. Just in case it happened. Caden Ellis, he played like, man, he could have possibly stepped in the future if DeMario would have started declining. But we got to find that guy, that next rotational guy that's going to give us, some quality snaps, whether that's linebacker or D line. But I want D line. But shout out to the chat, man. I see it's two people in the chat. Like I said, I just popped up, so I understand. Um, I'm going to open the phone lines up. If nobody calls in, that's perfectly fine. I understand. I just popped up, didn't give a notice, but I see it's Poppy 504 said, "Was Zam was good with you?" Poppy 504, and of course the OG Jerry Poor in the building saying, "What up, CB? What's good with you, fam? It's draft week. It's draft week, fam." So let's go ahead and get started with the show. This won't be a long show unless people just tune in and just start calling and calling. It's totally fine with me, but the show won't be long, probably about a good 20-30 minutes. But like I said, I'm going to break down 4 defensive linemen that I believe is going to be there at 29, if we're there at 29. So let's just go ahead and get started. Let's see. The first candidate who I believe is going to be there at 29. Will McDonald, defensive end out of Iowa. Before I get started, I looked at Lance Zierlein. He's a former NFL player. I looked at his scout report, so I kind of took some notes from there. So shout out to Lance Zierlein for awesome scout report on these guys. We're gonna start off with Will McDonald, Iowa State. He's 6'4", 239. He came into the combine not feeling well. He had 104 fever 2 days before the combine, so he came in there kind of sluggish a little bit. So he didn't run the 40. His vertical was a 33, tied for 17th. His broad jump was 11. And some of his strengths, he got long arms, uses well-timed hands, and lift to stick and separate from blockers. Creativity and getting off the block and play flow. So that's definitely good. Definitely want to have a guy that can shed blocks. He pursues targets with impressive change of direction, quickness, hell of a spin move. Freely. Dwight Freely. Y'all remember him? I'm saying Freely. Dwight Freeney. Do y'all remember his awesome spin move that he had when he played with the Colts? They said that this guy have a awesome spin move as well. I was trying to, look up some highlights to see if he had that spin move that Dwight had. Yeah, it's right there with it. I mean, he got an awesome spin move. So, he got some good traits that can possibly help us out. But some of his weaknesses, he's lean on the waist, hips, and thighs. And what he mean by lean, he's kind of stiff in that area. So, with that being said, this is the next level. You're going up against some quality offensive tackles. You're going to have to be able to have some good being if you want to be a quality starter for us. I don't want a developing guy. Who that nation? We done had the developing guy before. I don't want that. Like I said, he shows some good traits. Know how to use his hands. That's awesome. Great spin move. But once offensive tackles kind of figure that spin move out and able to handle that, what else does he bring to the table? Can he use his hips? Can he bend? As of right now, they saying he's kind of stiff in that area. So we're gonna see as time goes. Just say if we get him, that's something that he's gonna have to work on, getting better at using his hips, because that's important for a defensive end. Another weakness is inconsistent to maintain positioning as a run defender. As you guys know, who that nation, a few years back, our defensive line was very good at stopping the run. So, a grabby defender, that means usually you're getting beat by the opposing tackle and you're trying your best to get off, and you kind of start grabbing because none of your moves is working, so you're trying to grab now. So that's something that he's gonna have to work on. He definitely going to have to work on maintaining leverage in the run game, because we're gonna need that. And other than that, man, like I said, he got some good and bad. We done been through this with that nation. We know that every draft prospect is going to be some good and it's going to be some bad. But what do you take? I mean, from this scouting report, my takeaways is he definitely can use his hands, Cam Jordan know how to use his hands as well. Cam Jordan, does he have an awesome bend move? No. Is he able to maintain leverage as a run stopper? Excuse me. Absolutely. So Cam Jordan, he can hold it down in the run game, and he can utilize his hands and able to get back to the quarterback. With Will McDonald, some things he's gonna have to work on. He's able to use his hands, like I said, so some good and bad. And as far as the 40 time as a defensive lineman, I mean, that does play a factor because you want to be able to, especially these mobile quarterbacks today, you want to be able to get to the quarterback. And if these quarterbacks are scrambling, you got to be able to, have enough speed to chase them down before they get to the second level. So, yeah, speed has a lot to do with that. I was looking up some of his various 40 times. It varied like around this 4.6 mark. So that's decent that's pretty good for a defensive end. But Will McDonald, this is a guy that I think could be sitting there. But before I move forward, I do want to give an honorable mention to the top tier defensive linemen, defensive end and tackles. My fault, I forgot to mention that. I'm going to give them an honorable mention. Let me start with Jalen Carter, defensive end out of Georgia. As you guys know, just recently they came up with, there's been some news about him with I think he hit a pedestrian or something like that. He struck a pedestrian with a vehicle, not intentionally, but, he had gotten some trouble with that. I don't believe that affect his draft stock like that. Some guys are saying this is arguably the best defensive player in the draft, the best player, some is saying. So a guy like that, I don't see him going out of the top 5, at worst top 10. And to me, for him to drop past 5, it's going to have to be because a lot of these teams is trying to get quarterbacks. You got the Panthers, you got Houston, Seattle. Some is saying that they looking at Anthony Richardson. Will Seattle grab him? I don't know. So it's a lot of things that can happen. Geno, they just re-signed Geno. I don't know why they would grab one, but hey, that's them. That's not the New Orleans Saints. Let me give a shout out to Marie. Marie, this is my first time seeing you. Welcome to the WDN Chatline podcast. Who that to you? And shout out to Inevitable Expertise. Said, I just read they digging deep into Kansas. Fam, I was just about to get on here, fam. About an hour ago, I just pulled up. Shout out to Nick Underhill. Let me pull it up right quick. Shout out to Nick Underhill. They pulled up a report. I don't know if he reported it or not, but it said, according to Tony Pauline, the Saints have been digging deep into Elijah Kensey and burning the phone lines, talking with his coaches at Pittsburgh recently to get as much detail as possible on the defensive tackle. Now, as far as Elijah Kensey, I didn't put this guy on the list because I don't think it's no way in heck that this guy is going to fall all the way down to 29. You got people saying that this guy got some Aaron Donald tendencies, some possible Aaron Donald tendencies. I believe it at that. Anybody, you'd be going a little bit too far comparing this guy to Aaron Donald. But, some men saying that he was, far as his skill set and stuff, looking a little bit like Aaron Donald coming out of Pitt. So we already know what this guy is bringing to the table. Will he fall to 29? I don't know. But if the Saints is really digging deep, burning the phone lines, could the Saints move up to get this guy? It's a possibility that can happen. Like I said, my list is based off of if the Saints stay at 29. If the Saints stay at 29, guys like Will McDonald, and I'll bring up other ones, as the show goes along. But yeah, man, this guy, he definitely. I mean, it's really not any negatives that I seen from this guy. That's why I don't think. I think this guy can go top 10. So, like I said, I'd be shocked if the Saints, grab this guy unless they move up. If they move up into that range, but I see this guy going off the board quickly because skill sets like that, you don't want to let that pass a team. Teams don't want to let that pass. If we see what Aaron Donald's doing in this league, shedding tackles, can't see definitely an expert at shedding tackles. He's able to stop the run, get to the quarterback. I mean, it's looking real good for him. So, like I said, I gotta see. I gotta see what the Saints gonna do with that. But if the Saints really want Kancey and he get into the 11 and 12 range, I can see the Saints trading up to go get him. Okay, shout out to Dolph from the Keeping It Real Who That Saints sports podcast. Y'all go check his podcast out. Said WDN Chatline podcast. How you guys doing, family? We doing good, fam. Just holding it down. Shout out to you, fam. You guys go check out his podcast. Okay, Miles Murphy, defensive end out of Clemson, and Brian Reese. These two guys, you guys see how good their defensive line was. These two guys definitely made up enforcement up front. Like I said, they was able to stop the run, rush the passer. These guys, I definitely don't see them reaching 29. And then we got Lucas Benez, defensive end out of Iowa. This guy's another guy. He has a hell of a bend to him. He can get to the quarterback. Fast, know how to use his hands. These five guys, I do not see them being in the 29 range, in the bottom first round range at all. So that's why I didn't include them, in the list once again. But Kalijah Kancey, I just seen that report a few hours ago, so who knows? The Saints got their eye on him. I know guys like definitely Jalen Carter. He definitely not falling that far. He's not falling at the top 10. So he's definitely gonna be a top 10. As far as Kancey, I can see a team in the 5 through 10. I ain't gonna say 5 through 10, but the 10 through 13, 14 range trying to get him. One of those teams. But like I said, if he fall in the 11, 12 range and the Saints really want him, I believe they're going to go get him. And just let that sink in. Like I said, I just done a podcast talking about Nathan Shepard and Kalen Saunders. And this is a defensive tackle that the Saints is burning their lines up about. So that's why I say, I don't know what Dennis bringing these guys in. Is he viewing these guys as starters or just part of the rotation? So we'll see. I don't want to just say that these guys are going to be starters. You see, they looking at the defensive tackle. They trying to get all types of information about him. So, hey, I'm good with that. If we get this guy, I'm running around, get him around like Cam Jordan. Like, are you kidding me? A vet player like that, and veterans around that defense, that'll be somebody that can be our future defensive enforcer on that defensive line. Whenever Cam start declining, we're going to have that next guy right there. And hopefully Kalen Saunders can be another part of that. So, like I said, we'll see. But let's just go ahead and go to the next guy. The next guy, LSU. Pretty sure you guys are familiar with this guy. BJ, I'm trying to say his last name, Ojulari. 6'2", 248 pounds. He didn't participate in the 40. His vertical was a 32.5. Broad jump, 10.6. His strengths can bend very well. keep speeds charging forward through punch contact, uses ghost moves to defeat outside hand during rush. So I was looking at highlights of this guy. This guy reminds me of Brian Quinn as far as with his bend move. You know, excuse me, not Brian Quinn, Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn, you guys remember him when he was definitely a force. He's been a force lately, but I ain't gonna say that he's still there. He's kind of inconsistent as of late, but you guys know about the awesome bend move that guy has. And just a reminder, we played Dallas a few years back. This is with Teron Armstead. He gave Teron Armstead hell with that awesome bend move that he had. This guy has a hell of a bend move. As a defensive end, being able to bend, that's a great quality trait, you know, bringing it to the NFL. You're able to bend, that means your hips are elite. So all you got to do is just work on, you know, your hands. He got great punch power, so he got great punch power. You know, he doesn't give up until the whistle blows. So you got all of that. Maybe he can get better at stopping the run, holding the defender up. But as far as the qualities as a defensive end, you definitely has good traits to possibly become a great defensive end for the New Orleans Saints. If he's there at 29 and the Saints go with this guy. Now, to my knowledge, I'm not sure what type of defense they was in. I believe I heard from some that he was, you know, being more of a stand-up outside linebacker type guy in a 3-4. But I don't think that'll matter if he get in our defense. I don't think that's going to really matter whether he was standing up or not. If you can rush the passer, you can rush the passer. I mean, it just is what it is. So some of his weaknesses, needs to play better with toughness against the run. I just pointed that out. I think that's something that can be worked on. Below average play strength for gap disruption. So that's gap disruption. That's a part of the run game as well, because you want to be able to close gaps so that running backs can't hit the gaps. So that really has a lot to do with just getting stronger, getting his lower body stronger, you know, being able to close gaps. Excuse me. And another one is allows himself to be blocked too often. So really, like I said, all these weaknesses I just read, that has a lot to do with the run game. So this guy definitely going to have to, you know, work on being better in the run game. And these are some qualities that he's lacking right now coming into the league. Like I said, every draft prospect is going to have a weakness coming into the league. If someone does they scout report on the guy, everybody going to have their own. But these weaknesses stands out with this guy. As far as just as a pass rusher, he has that. He has that. And hopefully this guy, you know, if he's a New Orleans Saint, you know, he can get right. And Cam, he's an exceptional run stopper. He knows how to close off gaps and stuff. So, you know, Cam Jordan is going to be coaching this guy up if we bring him in. This would be a great, you know, a great veteran presence for this guy. Okay, so the next guy we're going to bring up, defensive tackle Mozzie Smith. Defensive tackle Mozzie Smith. He's from Michigan, 6'3", 323 pounds. About a week ago, the New Orleans Saints brought this guy in for a visit. They brought him in for a visit. They have real good interest in this guy. And that's interesting. I mean, let's just think about it. This is also another, after getting this report about Kelsey, and then a week ago, this guy was on the visit with the Saints. And let's just be honest, they brought in Hendon Hooker for a visit. So, I mean, they just doing their due diligence as organization doing their scouting, doing their homework as business usual. But when it's getting closer to the draft like this, and you're inquiring about defensive tackle, obviously they're not sold, on what they have right now, not fully sold. Now, with that being said, they still can view Kalen as a starter. It can just be opposite of one of these guys. Maybe Nathan Shepard is the rotational guy they see. But yeah, this guy right here, he was on a visit last week. With the Saints. I'm going to read out some of his strengths. Bench press, 34 reps. Some of these guys didn't do different things. The first two guys, BJ and Will, they didn't do the bench press, but this guy done the bench press, 34 reps. His strength, he's very athletic for a defensive tackle. Bendy and stout in his lower half. For the ones that done played, the defensive line, being bendy and stout in your lower half, that's an awesome trait to have as a defensive tackle. Power to punch and lift blockers under his pads. So that tells me that he's getting underneath these opposing linemen's pads. So he knows how to stay low with contact. The ones who play football from kindergarten all the way up, the saying that all these football coaches say, the lower man wins. And that's the truth. That's the truth. The lower man wins. That goes from running back. I mean, even just when you got the football in your hands, if you low, you can get more yards after contact. On the offensive line, you want to be able to get up underneath the guy's pads. Get underneath the guy's pads. They give you control of the guy, more control of the player. Defensive line, if you're able to get under the offensive lineman's pads, you get more control of the player. So, like I said, that's a great quality to have for Mosley. He's able to slide, swim, and seize the gap. So that right there, having all that traits, that means he's definitely an exceptional run stopper. And just looking at some of his highlights, he's definitely an exceptional run stopper. So that's something that we could use in our defense. I'm not going to say we've taken a step. We have taken a step back in stopping the run compared to what we was doing a few years ago. But I think this guy can bring that back. I believe he can bring that back, and we'll see. Some weaknesses. Hasn't made many plays behind the line of scrimmage. So that's telling me, once he gets back, he does get back there. He's just unable to finish the play, make the play. So sacking the quarterback. So as a defensive tackle, is that a huge issue? I mean, that'd be awesome to have. Could he develop into putting hands on the quarterback? Absolutely. Like I said, this is all scout report. This is someone's opinion, and just my opinion as well from what I've seen. Another thing, motor runs out of gas when tempo heats up. So the opposing offense, if they running that high tempo offense, that's just things like that. Being able to keep a motor up, that just means more conditioning. This is something that the guy can develop. I don't think this is something that he can develop into playing in college. In college ball, you can be playing a lot of teams. I know he was in a good conference, but a lot of these teams you just head and shoulders better than. You really don't have to have a lot of win for a lot of these plays. I mean, if you just that much better than your opponent, but when you get to the league, everybody's win gonna be up. Everybody gonna be like that. So you gotta find a way to get better at what you weak at. It's just conditioning for him. Another weakness: surprising lack of anchor consistency against double teams. So obviously, one-on-one, he was dominating this guy, especially in the run game. And teams knew that. So, when you double team him, he was unable to, get past that. That's something that I believe, veteran players, aka Cam Jordan, along with the coaches, I believe they can get him right on that. I don't think that's too much. He's not getting washed up out of plays. It's just, when it comes to double teams, he really couldn't manage that part. But if he getting double teamed, that means that he was kicking the other guy's tail in front of him one-on-one. So it's not too much downside to this guy, according to Lance Scout report. But like I said, we brought this guy in for a visit. Definitely excited about, possibly getting this guy. Defensive tackle. It's looking like that's the position. Defensive end, we don't have that on the Saints currently right now. But defensive end or tackle, that's all I'm concerned about. Because we don't have that next guy to be there. Payton Turner, I'm not mentioning his name until he can give me a whole season. This is looking like another Marcus Davenport with this guy, with his injuries. Another Marcus Davenport. And the last guy is Keon White, defensive end out of Georgia Tech. He's 6'5", 285. Got long arms. His 40 time, he didn't participate. His bench press, 30 reps, 34 vertical, broad jump, 9.9. To be honest, this guy, I really hadn't checked this guy out. I was just looking at the scouting report with this guy. And I was just looking at a lot of rankings from different scouting departments. And this guy is, after the first wave of guys, the Carter, Murphy, Cansey, this guy falls in that next line, this next tier of players. So I'm not going to sit here and read verbatim this guy's scout report, but I hadn't been hearing too much about this guy, especially from Saints camp, and just looking at a lot of mock drafts. Like I said, all the mock drafts and stuff, man, it's just people's opinions on on who they think could go where. But we'll kind of get tomorrow, definitely Wednesday, we kind of start getting a little feel of who gonna go where, at least the top 10. But you always had trade ups. So that's basically it on the scout report. Like I said, I ain't gonna say too much on this guy. Out of these 5, I really didn't do no homework on him. But what I'm about to do right now, let's see, I'm about to put the link in the comment section. If anybody want to call in, give me your thoughts on any one of these guys, feel free to call in. And if not, we can go ahead and wrap this show. Let me read a few comments. Let's see. Dolph said, if Texans go defense at number 2, other players would get pushed down the board. That's a fact, fam. That's a fact. You got some saying, they're looking at quarterback. It's either going to be Stroud or Bryce Young, according to people. Whoever the Panthers get, they saying the Texans going to get the opposite. And then I seen a report today saying that CJ Stroud failed some type of test, and they think that's going to affect his draft stock. I mean, you got people saying all kind of stuff like that. I don't think CJ Stroud is falling out the top 5. I believe it's going to be Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, 1 first pick, and then when the Texans pick. So it's going to be 1, 2. But Dolph, like you said, if they go defense at number 2, could they go with a Jalen Carter? I mean, if they real high on the guy, if they real high on him, and they want another potential JJ Watt type of player, they could get him. I know they're not confident in that quarterback they have. I forgot his name. I don't think they too confident in him right now. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. Dog, a lot of things happen in the draft. You got trades, trade ups, teams trade back. I seen a report about the Cardinals might be trading down. So then that puts another team at 3, whoever trades up. I mean, we don't know what's gonna happen. As far as the trades up, trade down. But I will say, as far as this Kancey guy, it really, before I got on, man, I was just thinking about this Kancey guy. That's all I was thinking about. If the Saints is really sold on that guy, go get him. This ain't no project guy or nothing like that. This ain't no Davenport. Rashawn traded up, picked this guy over Lamar Jackson, and we seen the result of that. All Davenport gave us, and that's just being honest, Davenport just gave us a bunch of hope and potential. One season, it had 9.5 sacks. That was a good season, but beyond that, man, he just couldn't stay on the field. He couldn't stay on the field. He just gave us a lot of hope. That's all he gave us. Man, I hope this guy can get on the field. Man, this guy got a lot of potential. We do not need that on this defensive line. If we're going defensive lineman in the draft in the first round, and I'm gonna just say first round, because if they really back to, try to fight for Kancey, they're not gonna sit at 29. They're gonna have to move up and get in the mid-teens to get him. So if they do that, then I mean, Kancey, he's not no injury-prone type player. I think he was hurt at one point, but this guy definitely, we know he's not no project player. I mean, that's something that we do know. We do not need to get the project player at all. Please don't. Saints. We done good last year. We got Olave. That's good. Let's keep building on it. DA done a good job getting Olave. Awesome job. We got us a good quality receiver. Possibly down the road can be a exceptional number 1 receiver. Miss Anna said, I'm hoping for a D end, a D tackle. I'm right with you, Miss Anna. Defensive end, a defensive tackle. That's all I want in this first round. In the wave of players. Now, with that being said, if all these linemen are just getting picked up, I don't think they just need to. I will say this: if they just get picked up like that, the Saints don't need to just get a possible project defensive lineman or tackle. None of these guys that I'm reading, the notable mentions that I read, just say that they go off the board. And if these 4 right here that I read is off the board and we sitting at 29, I don't think we need to go defensive lineman. Dolph said, your thoughts on Isaiah Foskey, Notre Dame? I'm going to be honest, fam. I ain't done too much scouting on him. Fam. I had heard his name mentioned, but I'm going to just be honest, I really hadn't done too much scouting on him. Really just this defensive line, these top guys that I've been kind of, looking at. But yeah, who that nation? That's basically it. Once again, man, I apologize for coming on at a late minute notice. Like it was like 10 minutes, and I just said I'm going live in 10 minutes. But that's just how today was. Apologies. But you guys be sure to like, subscribe, follow the page. Who That Nation, I'm going to get on. I'll try to get on tomorrow night. If not tomorrow night, Wednesday night. I'm going to try to do a mock draft. I got to do a mock draft before draft night. So tomorrow night, it might be the mock draft, but I want to do another segment on linebackers. Linebackers, I think we can kind of wait. Unless a linebacker fall, one of these top guys fall to us, and these defensive linemen is gone, I think linebacker we can kind of wait, to the next round. I don't think that we should get that at 29. And then I want to talk about the receiver room. The receiver room, as we said at receiver. I know we brought in Brian Edwards, kind of big, similar guy, like possession receiver, like Michael Thomas is. Gotta have just in case Michael Thomas does go down. And I think he'll still be a part of the rotation with Michael Thomas there. As far as reps, being a part of the rotation. I still want to see them bring Jarvis back. I think they can bring him back on cheap. They probably gonna wait till after the draft and see. Just two guys, man, that we dealt with injuries. But yeah, it's just a lot of things I want to chop on. But other than that, this was the main topic, getting on this defensive line. Getting on this defensive line, I'm not confident in what we have on the defensive line. Mine is Cam Jordan. I can't stand on that right now because I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting. I mean, I know we got Carl Granderson. These guys have been, giving us some great rotational play. Stepping in, giving us great rotational play. Tanal have, Carl have. They've been giving us great rotational play. But as far as that starter, that great player, that good to great player, we don't have that besides Cam. Right now, we don't. Until I see it come from somebody. Till somebody shows that. Other than that, Who That Nation, you guys please like, subscribe, follow the page. It's the WDN Chatline podcast, and I'm out. Who that?